Okay, so let's go over how to make a class in C#. But before we do that, let's explore our Hello World program a little bit more. Notice our system here, using system, this turned white. That's because console is part of system, see system.console. Since we have a using statement here, we don't have to qualify console with system. Oops. See, it'll actually, ReSharper will actually grade this out and say that we don't need it. And in fact, if you look at this little light bulb over here, we can click that, and it'll recommend that we remove this redundant qualifier. So that means that these other guys aren't being used. So I'm going to remove those right now, and that'll trim down our program size a little bit, add a little less clutter. Okay, so let's start just with the class program. So as a quick review, static here means the same thing that it does in Java. So one difference in C# is that we can make a class fully static. See, we can have a static class. And all that this does is it enforces all of the methods and all of the variables to be static. That is independent of an instantiation of that class. So we don't do that for our main method, though. We just have a regular class program. Now, because program is a regular class, that means that ordinarily to run regular methods, it would have to be instantiated. However, notice that our void main is a static void. Whenever something is marked as static, that means it is independent of an instance. So we don't have to instantiate program to run our void. So really, we could call our main just like this if we wanted to. We don't have to have an instance of program. This is a bad example because it's within the program, but see, we qualify it with the program class name because it's static. So we could call main if we wanted to, albeit we don't, because of course that would be recursive. And as you can see, I don't know if this is ReSharper or Visual Studio, but it tells us that, it gives us little hints when things are recursive like this. Keep an eye on this bar over here because it'll often have useful advice. Also, keep an eye on underlines like this. Like if we click on this underline, oops, this can make a recommendation to us. Remove redundant qualifier, that's what it doesn't like. Convert recursion to iteration. Oh, look at that. Look at all that interesting stuff it can do. That's another nice thing about ReSharper. It can do a lot of interesting reformatting for you, but we'll get back to that later. So just like Java, we have a string args as well that's input to the program. So notice this is qualified in a namespace. Now this is a little, there isn't a direct, there isn't something that this directly equates to in Java. It is, however, very similar to C++ namespaces. However, I don't believe that namespaces can have free-floating functions here. Yeah, see. So unlike C++, you can't have namespace global functions or variables. Everything still has to be within classes. So classes just exist within namespaces. However, again, unlike C++, we don't have to use a scope resolution operator to access a namespace. Namespaces are just accessed with a regular dot. So it just looks like you're accessing yet another layer of a class, kind of, if you are qualifying with a namespace. So namespaces are kind of like package in Java, but all this really means is that when something is in the namespace Hello World, you can access it from within Hello World. So that, it might not sound horribly useful, but it's sort of just a way to help organize projects further. In reality, this probably isn't going to matter all that much to you. In reality, it's probably just going to be the same as your project name every time. Okay, so now we have a little bit better of an idea of what's going on here. So, let me actually check my time quick. I don't know why I said that. I can't even check my time. Oh, yes, I can. Perfect. Okay, so now let's create a class. So all classes we look, we can make global classes, it looks like. No, we can't. Okay, good. Yeah, it's not happy with global classes, so okay, good. Classes have to be within a namespace, just like our program class is. So let's create another class in here. Let's make a person. And we're going to give them an age. Okay, so in Java, if we wanted people to have access to this age, what we would do is we would say public int getAge, public void setAge, and age, this dot age equals age. And this, you know, this works all fine and dandy. But look at this. If we remove all the spaces, you know, oops. If we choose to keep our braces on, you know, new lines like this, this is still 7 lines. Now you could reduce this and reduce this and reduce this, but this is a lot of boilerplate just to add some basic access modifiers to a type. So this is one of the nice things about C#, is we can do away with that, and we can have properties. Properties are a first-class citizen in C#. They work just like access modifiers, but to the end user they look kind of like a variable. So let me show you what I mean. So we can have a public int age with a capital letter, and in here we can have a getter, and we can have a setter. So in the get we'll say that we're going to return age, and in the setter we say we're going to set age equal to value. Value is a keyword that is just the input parameter for set. So this is a little smaller, it's a little cleaner. We could add custom logic here if we wanted to. Like we could say if age, I don't know, we could say age equals value greater than or less than 100, value else 0. What have I done wrong here? Operator question cannot be applied to operands of type bool and int. Well, regardless, I'm trying to shorthand this. I could say if value is greater than 100, age equals 0, else age equals value. See, I could do something just like this, and let's see what I got wrong. This is another helpful thing about ReSharper. Look at this. If we hover over it, it says that we can convert this to a ternary operator expression. Oh, silly me, I was using 2 question marks instead of 1. Yeah, okay, so see, we could do this. But we're not gonna do that for our example. We're just gonna say that age equals value and keep things simple. So if we look, we can make a person. Very good. And by the way, whenever those hints are showing up, I'm just hitting enter and letting Visual Studio plug the rest of them in. So we can say person.age, and see how it showed up as soon as I hit the dot. See, a function is going to have these parentheses after them, but a property is not. So we can say age equals 5. And then let's just append it to this string. We'll do person.age. So as you can see, if we run this, if we hit the start button, also this is F5 on the keyboard. Quick tip, F5 is build and run, F6 is just build. If you ever think that you have a bunch of, old artifacts in your solution, you're probably going to want to do a rebuild, which is simply a clean and build. This will get rid of like all the DLLs and what have you. And it'll just create everything from scratch again. But anyway, we're going to hit the start button, and we'll see. Look, it tacked our age of 5 on here. Perfect. Okay. So, that will conclude this video.